So my life here in Apex, just for those who don't know me, I'm Colleen Merays, and I'm the small business manager for the town of Apex, and I work in economic development. And my role started as the very first small business manager for the town of Apex. There's not that many of us actually across the state who manage small business in North Carolina. So it is kind of a unique role in that. And my position and my growth with Apex started in November of 2019. So I guess like that's, and it actually was an outgrowth of the downtown plan and parking study that was done also at the same time. And they identified the need for a small business person who would come in and help with some downtown things, and the role kind of transitioned and added. So a component of my position here also focuses on downtown Apex. But as far as my time here in Apex, my favorite things have always been working with the small business community. Of course, I have a passion for that. Coming from New York and upstate New York, not downstate New York, there's a very big difference. And a community there, I was able to come here and kind of hit the ground running, because I've had over 20 years experience working with small business in development. And so my favorite memories all kind of relate to helping small business. Obviously, shortly after I started, and I guess a benefit to the fact that I've had experience in small business was COVID. So working to kind of provide ways of input, communication, information, helping with our Launch Apex program. I kind of came into that role and started as a co-program manager with the economic development director. So all things kind of related to making sure that our businesses and our community here are growing, succeeding, building, expanding, thriving has been a joy. One of my most recent favorite memories, obviously, is we just went through the inaugural Apex Restaurant Week, which was also part of our passport program with this year's 150th. And that was really great, because that was something I did in my former community, was able to bring here, and the expertise that I had there. And we had really great restaurants who people got to try out for the first time, because I'm clearly not the first transplant from somewhere else to come to Apex with the growing community that we have here. So it's been really, really wonderful getting to know and making wonderful friends with the businesses and working with them to help them succeed. It's a passion for me, and I know that they feel the passion in their business. So it's kind of like, I think that that's what I bring to the table for them too, is that I have as much passion for their success as they do for their own. And I truly, I root for them. I support them. We have our lovely Love Local brand that was helped put together by our wonderful Apex Communications department. And it's just been a great ride so far, and more to come. We're always building on things. Like we just started, actually in the last year, we also just started our Women and Minority-Owned Businesses program, our MWBE program for enterprises to list themselves as small businesses here in Apex. We have also, again, with our communications department, we developed a really, really great logo for them to bring awareness to what they do, and working with our DEI department in the town of Apex to kind of provide some training, some expertise, some things like that. So more to come on those kinds of things, but it's just been really, really great to help this community thrive and grow, especially a very specific section of the community, because 99.6% of businesses across the state of North Carolina are small businesses, which is huge. So I mean, pretty much every business that you come into contact with in North Carolina is a small business. So I'm never lacking for things to do. I'm always just trying to grow and improve them and find ways for people to make this small business community part of their community as well. So an important memory for Apex while I was here is obviously I've talked about a little bit about what we did in response to COVID and for our small business community. But a big thing was obviously there were significant restrictions put on small business. And a lot of these businesses rely on those customer bases. They didn't necessarily have online shopping capabilities or takeout ability or ways to pivot their business, or were looking for help. So strategically, Economic Development Department did kind of two things. Initially, we did an emergency loan fund, which the town council essentially set aside $1 million to help up to, and they were loans up to $50,000, of which people applied for. We worked with the Rural Center, actually, who administered the program on behalf of the town of Apex. So they were sort of our administrators, where you would apply and go through a process, but did help several businesses here in Apex stay afloat during a very difficult time where income streams were not what they should have been. And obviously, we all have burdens, whether personal, professional, et cetera, paying staff, and not all of those funds that were made available, whether you want to talk about the PPP monies or the EIDL monies, or even now we're still into ARPA funds. And for all of the people who don't understand all of those lovely acronyms, you can look them up, but it's like essentially the ARPA funds that we're in is the American Recovery Act monies. Also what we did, another big initiative that we pivoted on initially was for our restaurant community, specifically in downtown. So if people will remember, we expanded, we got rid of the on-street parking and expanded the dining outside, because that's where you could, while you were very much restricted to inside dining, well, overall dining was restricted by 50%, but outside, and they were very much encouraging people to have outdoor options. Well, in a downtown setting, there's limited sidewalk dining capabilities. So your ability to attract customers who are being told, hey, if you want to go out, that's fine, but eat outside if you can, it was really difficult. So being able to provide ways for businesses, even in a downtown environment, to provide that extra seating outside of their restricted indoor dining experience, and be able to keep those numbers, keep employees, retain staffing for their back of house, provide that opportunity, not just for themselves as business people, but they're your community members. This is sponsors of your Little League teams and your, soccer leagues, and their moms and dads too, running around and trying to figure out how to pay bills and things like that. So to be able to provide those kinds of services and pivot as a government entity, which was really, really great, because you don't always see government move swiftly. We definitely, in our instance, it was kind of like a plan, and by June, early July, it was in place. So March, shutdown happened. By end of June, early July, we had a whole option for when people kind of came back into fruition and were able to operate again. We had a plan in place to allow them to be successful. And that was huge. So that was a really important thing that we were able to do during that time. So the emergency loan and then the sidewalk dining experience with the extension downtown was really big. And then what caveat onto the top of that, which was another important memory, was our high schools couldn't have prom. So we turned the downtown depot parking lot with a big tent and everything like that into a prom location right in downtown, because they could be outside under a big tent because they lost their prom location. So both Apex High School and Apex Friendship were able to, and I went to Apex High School's prom with the mayor, and at the time Mayor Pro Tem Dozier was there, and her daughter, actually, former Mayor Pro Tem Dozier, her daughter Krista was part of that, and it was really just so great to see the community kind of come together, and the number of people who were taking pictures. I mean, it was actually like, so we called it the promenade, the downtown promenade, because it was at least a way for kids to still have that very, very specific opportunity. So a lot of my very important memories revolve around pivoting due to restrictions that were put in place due to COVID, and being able to kind of do them in a swift way that, not a lot of other communities did things like that for their people. And I really appreciate how we all came together as a community. The principals at the different high schools, Principal White at the time, and Principal Hoffman did an excellent job with their staff, just kind of trying to keep the morale up, because it was a hard job. So I appreciate and everybody's support at that time too. It was just great. So it was a really important time where we all kind of came together, you know, facing kind of really some significant odds. Several things. Obviously, I'm well steeped in the community. For the Apex's 150th, I was part of a committee of people. One of my big things was community partnerships. Myself and my co-chair, Linda Jones, who is the director for DEI for the town of Apex. She and I worked together with some great people, you know, basically being cheerleaders. You know, reaching out to those community members who you don't necessarily see all the time, whether it's from Justice Heights, whether it's from Friendship, and hearing all of those stories and wonderful things that are happening in those communities, you know, and the ways to engage our religious communities too. We have the mosque here in Apex, so that's been just coming together as a people and providing that. I was part of the Juneteenth, the inaugural Juneteenth, and then the second year of that. I know they've now moved on, and I was part of that original group of folks helping to coordinate that on with part of the town. And again, it's just such an important piece to me, is like community is friends, it's food, it's family, and I really feel like we have found a family here in Apex. Like, it has been such a welcoming experience being somebody who, you know, wasn't born and raised here, to just come into, you think sometimes, yes, you work for the town, you're supposed to feel like a certain way, you know, yes, and I think that that's true. I don't think anybody gets into public service because but it's a passion. I definitely feel a passion for my community, for my small businesses. They're like family members, they're friends. They text me even on the weekends, as family members do, when they have issues or things that need getting done. They reach out. And also, I do live here. I may not live in Apex proper. I'm part of the 3-9. Sad to say, but I live here. My kids go to Middle Creek High School, so we're raising our family here, and so we've made a home here. We've made friends here, and I think that's part of the great thing that is Apex, right? It is, you know, you can come from somewhere else and you bring, you know, those resources and those that sense of place that you've had somewhere else, and you make a new sense of place. And I've definitely found wonderful friendships with the people I work with the businesses that I support and help, with the people I see day to day in economic development, and just, you know, through the schools and other things that we're involved in. It's been great. And like I said, as part of the 150th committee, just being able to reach out to different folks who make Apex has been great, and that's been a wonderful way to make it feel like home. I mean, obviously we go out to Peak Fest and things like that as a department, and get to see more of the community that way. But, you know, we're definitely well steeped in what's going on with, you know, different people's lives and things like that. And it's been an awesome part of coming here and making this place home. But it definitely is a home. It's a family. You know, you don't always have, you know, there's not always the best things that are happening. Like I always feel like it's like a Thanksgiving dinner on a regular basis. Like, sometimes there's a drama, sometimes there is something that's happening, but you all come together. And that's the great thing that I think that is Apex, is that Apex really does come together as a community for supporting each other, listening to each other, enjoying time with each other. And that is rare. I have to say, coming from other places and being here, it is a rare privilege to be part of this community. So I appreciate the welcoming nature that I received when I got here, and I feel like, and being able to share that with others who are new to this community, who come here, I feel like that's a great part of it too. So many things, honestly, but we're so on the right track. I mean, Apex didn't get named by Money Magazine in 2015 as best place, small town to live for, you know, without having some of the amenities and great things that attract people here. Obviously, weather's a great aspect of it, but we have phenomenal parks, trails, events. you name it. So as far as Apex's potential goes, I mean, sky's the limit, honestly. Like, I think we're only limited by what we perceive as the box, right? So I feel like anything is doable, especially, again, as like we asked the question about community and what makes place home. It's like, if the community comes together and really rallies around things like they did during COVID and other things, like, sky's the limit. I mean, literally, sky is the limit. So obviously we're going to see more improvements when Pleasant Park opens and some of the other great quality of life things that happen. But you'll see bigger and better events. We got fireworks now during 4th of July. So I just think Apex's potential is limitless, honestly. I think, I feel like as long as we all come together, and we're never all going to agree, but I think everybody's has Apex's hopes and dreams, for the better in line, and I think it makes our potential limitless, and I appreciate having the opportunity to grow and continue with Apex.